Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Double Play. It's our first video in a while, but today we're going to be doing a home run draft. Jack, what are the rules?
Yeah, so we're drafting a team that will hit the most home runs in 2024. So you need one player at every position on offense. That's catcher, first base, second base, shortstop, third base, and then each of the individual outfield spots and a DH. Now, the one big rule is once a player from a team is taken, neither of us can take another player from that team. So, say someone were to take a Shohei Ohtani, you can't have any other Dodgers. That means you're not taking a Mookie Betts or a Freddie Freeman. So you've got to make sure you've got one at every position. But we're going to have 20 different teams here because I believe it's 18. There's 18 different spots, and once one team is gone, no one can take another. So, there's a lot of teams that hit a lot of home runs, but once one of those players is taken, neither of us can take another one. So, we're just going to go one instead of snake drafting. Ryan, I'll let you call the coin. I'm going to flip it on my phone. This is for the first
Heads.
pick. Here we go.
Heads, always pick heads.
It's tails. I pick first, but I honestly, yeah, it's. I think there's enough players here that it's not going to be a big deal.
I think
Um,
so.
I think the number one overall player here was pretty obvious to me. I'm going Aaron Judge because center field
Okay.
is a position
Okay.
where there aren't a lot of guys that hit home runs. Aaron Judge has the potential to hit the most home runs in the league, and we've seen it before, obviously. I think I got to go Aaron Judge to fill out center field because that's where he's going to be playing for the Yankees.
I didn't even have Aaron Judge on my board because I was just kind of assuming you'd take him, whether you got the first pick or not, because he was not my first pick. My first pick, I think it's got to be Shohei number two. Actually, you know what? I'm going to scratch that. I'm going to go Corey Seager number two. I
Hmm.
feel like that's the biggest gap. He hit 33 bombs last year in like 110 games. It kind of calls back to that Trout season a couple years ago where he played 110, hit 40. So I think, he's hurt to start the year, but if he plays a full season, I think that's the best pick. And I just don't know if Shohei has a big enough gap on the next guy at DH. And then, who knows? Maybe he comes out the year slow with his surgery. I don't want to be putting that in my first pick. I'm going Seager.
Yeah, Seager was my number one shortstop, and that's kind of the two first picks of the first round. And now that we've done that, I want to shout out. We got this idea from Jomboy Media, saw that their video, they were the ones to do it first, and we took inspiration from that and wanted to do it on our own. But all credit goes to theirs, and we'll link the draft that they did in the description below. See, you've left Shohei on the board, and once I took Aaron Judge, I really wasn't expecting him to come up. And I'm thinking about taking him, but I also understand that yes, there are DHs that hit a lot of home runs. But if I leave him on the board, that leaves the Dodgers on the board. Although I'm not too concerned about that, I think I'm going to take Austin Riley at third base, which eliminates all Braves as well.
Yeah, he was my number one third baseman on my board. I think then I think going Shohei here is a little bit of a steal. I can go Mookie too at second base. He almost hit 40 bombs last year. The next guy would be like Simeon or Albies.
Simeon's gone, so you can't take Simeon.
Oh, that's right. I can't take Simeon. So I'm gonna I'm gonna go Mookie at second base. I think
I
he's
think that's a good pick.
he's good for another year, and that takes Shohei off the board. People are gonna see this and be like, no Shohei, what the heck?
The
But
DHs hit home runs, so Ohtani could very well lead the league in home runs, but I think
this is
you're
true.
right.
This is
There's
true.
probably a bigger
Now,
discrepancy at
oh,
second.
the Mookie Seager middle infield combo makes me sad. Right? What could have been for the Dodgers?
That's true. I'm gonna go with the next highest just overall rated player on my board, and this is someone that you and I think have hinted at because this is someone that didn't get drafted by
Hmm.
John Boy Media in their draft. I'm gonna go Pete Alonso. He's
Yep.
right up there for the league lead in home runs every year. Matt Olson is the other option at first base, but Austin Riley I already took, so no Braves allowed. I'm gonna go with Pete Alonso.
Yeah, I think Matt Olson might be the better value pick, but Pete Alonso, he's gonna give you 45 regardless. It kind
Mhm.
of seems like at this point, and
I think I'd rather have the combo of Riley and Alonso than
that's true.
Olson and
What?
whoever's playing third base for the Mets or
Hmm.
some other third baseman.
So then I think I gotta lock this one up because I think there is a drop off at DH after this one. I'm gonna go Jordan Alvarez.
Interesting. Yeah, I honestly I don't think there's a drop off because I'm gonna take Kyle Schwarber, who hit more home runs than Jordan Alvarez last year and will be DHing.
That'll be a left fielder.
No, he's projected to be the DH. We talked about this in our last draft.
Yeah, you took him as a left fielder. I thought
No,
that's what we talked
I took
about.
him as a DH.
Let's see. I got the roster resource right here
He
because
played
I
DH for all 5 games of the NLCS against the Diamondbacks. He's projected to be the DH this season.
if he's projected, okay, yeah, he is. But I thought for some reason from our last. Okay, so then that was my pick that I was texting you about earlier because I thought I had him as a left fielder. But I'll allow that.
I will take him now. I maybe could have waited on him, but I don't want you to take a Philly, and that eliminates the last possible DH. So I'm gonna go Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah, that was my fault for assuming that. I just Okay, so now here's where we get some strategy involved because like the big teams I feel like are off my board, and now it's about which players. I think I'm gonna go Cal Raleigh at catcher.
That's a good pick. You
I
you put me in a little bit of a bind there. That's all I'll say. But I like
I
that pick.
I went based off who is like the biggest gap rather than some team strategy there. So hopefully that doesn't come back and be a bad pick.
I think that is a good pick. Because there aren't many catchers. Cal Raleigh was my number one catcher.
Hmm.
I am surprised this guy made it this far, and he was someone I was really hoping about because he was my number 2 right fielder, and I figured that if I got Austin Riley, I couldn't take my number 1 right fielder, which was Ronald Acuna Jr. I'm going to take Fernando Tatis Jr. in right field.
Yep, he was my number one right field. I didn't even have Acuna here because I just assumed either he or Brave would be taken by this point. So then that leaves me with first base, third base, left field, and actually all
All
the
the outfield
outfields.
spots.
Yeah. So then I think I'm gonna go to left field here. I'm gonna take Joey Gallo.
Interesting. That is, I think you really could have waited on that position specifically.
Really, I wanted to take one that you didn't have. I know that's definitely not the best team pick,
Mhm.
but
That's kind of why I thought you could wait. Is like I don't know if anyone else is going to take. He's a national now. Like he's not a Twin
yeah,
anymore. He's a national
but
now,
I also think he might be the best left fielder. So
and that's fair.
best left field pick. So I didn't want you to snag that. I didn't even have another left field on my board because I it was him and Schwarber there.
I think I'm going to take a pick that's going to handicap you at other positions. I'm going to take Ketel Marte at second base, so you can't have Corbin Carroll
Okay, yeah, that
or Christian
does.
Walker, who was also on my board at first base.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think it does definitely handicap me because now I got two different positions where there's only one player left on my board from the same team. So I'm gonna have to pivot on one of those picks. Um, I'm gonna go to center field here. I'm gonna go Lou Bob, Luis
Yeah,
Robert.
I figured he was coming off the board. I wish that he was available. Like if we had done all 3 outfielders, I think I would have tried and made a move there. Center field is like you're going to get a lot of home runs from certain guys. I think you've got Robert, you've got Trout, and you've got Julio Rodriguez who are all on the board. The reason I went Judge number 1 though is just the discrepancy there. Like those guys could hit 30, but if Judge hits 50, then that's still a 20
Mm-hmm.
home run gap. And
Mm-hmm.
I I think I can wait on a couple of these positions. I've only got 3 left, so I think I just have to make the move. The problem is I've got 1 shortstop and 1 catcher left, and they both play on the same team. And so I'm deciding where to go there. I will draft at shortstop Bobby Witt Jr. And
Okay,
Salvador
yep, that
Perez was my only other catcher, but I'm going to try and do some research now because I can't take him.
yeah, that's what I'm doing with my other ones right now. So you took Bobby Witt. That was a good pick. If I didn't pick Seager, he was my second shortstop. And so now I have right field, first base, and third base. And you have catcher and left field. I'm gonna take away one of your catcher spots actually, because I'm gonna go with Gunner at third.
Interesting.
So
I
that way
kind
you
of
can.
hadn't even realized that we hadn't taken an Oriole yet. I think that's a good pick. Although definitely not the third baseman I would have gone with. I understand you're trying to handicap me, but He wasn't
I
even on
agree that
my list of.
he was my third left of available. I also had Jake Berger and Rafael Devers ahead of him, but I don't know. I'm gonna try and block you get Nadley because I think he's kind of consistently good for 25, and you can't take Will Smith or JT Realmuto. It might be tough for you at catcher now.
Yeah, honestly, I had a couple guys that I was thinking about at catcher, and neither of them were Adley. I mean, Adley did hit 20 home runs, but there are catchers who hit in that same range as well. I am going to. I'll take my catcher now. I'm going to go Wilson Contreras from the Cardinals. Hit 20 home runs last year, same as
Okay,
Adley.
that's a good one. That's a good one.
Oh, wait. Is that like locked in stone?
I'll let you I'll let you
No, I
change it.
think it's fair. I was going to take his brother. I was going to take William Contreras, who had a better season last year, but maybe the home runs could tick up this season. But I'll stick with my pick.
Okay.
I'll go Wilson Contreras from the Cardinals.
So I got first base and right field. I've got two picks here. There's the right fielder. I just looked at the board and not a lot of teams I could pick from. There's one guy, but I really want his teammate at first base because I think the ceiling could be high. I'm alluding to MLB The Show cover athlete Vladdy at first, but I think I'm going to take Springer in right field.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't have Springer on my board, but I also picked my right
If you
fielder early. So
yeah, if you look at the right fielder left, he's ranked 11th in home runs last year, only had 21, but
mhm.
the top 10 are all from teams we've already taken. So
Yeah, I had Acuna, Tatis, Corbin, Kyle Tucker, and Adolis Garcia, and all those guys have been wiped off the board by other
yeah,
picks. So all I've got is left field left, and this is a guy that I knew I could get with the last pick. I'm gonna go Brian Reynolds from the Pirates. Not playing center field for them this year. He'll be playing left. So I will take Brian
interesting.
Reynolds. He had a good season last year. He was. I only put three left fielders on there, with which I guess I could have taken the guy who I had rated higher, but I'm fine with Brian Reynolds. And,
And
and
that
I'm gonna stay quiet until after the draft about who that was.
my last pick is going to be Spencer Torkelson at first base. He had 30 bombs last year, played 159 games, which kind of that just entire stat line kind of flew under the radar for me. I just remember him debuting the year before
Mhm.
and being a disappointment. But first base, I want to take Vladdy there, but I'll take it. I think you might have the higher ceiling with these some of these guys, like Pete Alonso, Austin Riley, Aaron Judge, Tatis, Schwarber. Okay, yeah, but I do have some solid production. Jordan, Seager, Mookie, Torkelson, Riley. I feel like I win a lot of positions, but you also the positions you win by a considerable margin.
Yeah, I could win, multiple positions by 20. Like I'm saying, if Torkelson hits 30, like Alonso has the potential to hit 50 home runs. Same with Judge. I think Tatis and Schwarber could be up there as well. I think one of the mistakes that you made is like I understand that catcher and shortstop were thin positions, but they're also positions you don't get a lot of home runs from, and you're just trying to find the most home runs. Also, now that the draft's over and we can read out with the final teams, I really think you messed up at third base. I know Gunnar Henderson's really good, but Rafael Devers was right there on the board, and you decided not to take him.
No, I think they're going to be similar.
I don't
How
know.
many did Gunnar hit this last year? Even
I gotta
with a
look.
slow start,
They're
he
both
hit
on my
28.
fantasy. They're both on my fantasy team. So
He hit 28. Devers hit 33 this past year, and Gunnar had a slow start to the year. So
I just
I
think
don't know.
I think you look at Devers and it's like that's a guy that will could very easily hit more than 33 home runs.
Let's check these projections real quick.
All right, while you're doing
Projection
that, I'll read out our final teams.
sounds good.
From catcher down, I had Wilson Contreras at catcher, Pete Alonso at first base, Ketel Marte at second base, Bobby Witt Jr. at shortstop, Austin Riley at third base, with Brian Reynolds in left field, Aaron Judge in center field, Fernando Tatis Jr. in right field, and Kyle Schwarber DHing. Ryan had Cal Raleigh, who led all catchers in home runs last year, as his catcher. Spencer Torkelson at first base, Mookie Betts at second, Corey Seager at short, Gunnar Henderson at third, Joey Gallo in left, Luis Robert in center, George Springer in right, and Jordan Alvarez as his DH.
Yeah, so I just checked. Go back to those projections. Devers is projected to hit 33 again, and Gunner's at 26. So
I mean, who
you know,
knows if this comes down to 7 home runs and then we can come back and look at this in a
mhm.
year and say, well, that's maybe where you messed up. I also just think you maybe took Joey Gallo too early. Like I understand he comes from a position where you were only going to take one national, but I kind of think that those are the guys you take later on. I don't know if you think Joey Gallo is going to hit that many more home runs than Brian Reynolds.
Yeah, I might have pulled the trigger too there. I too early there. I just kind of I maybe panicked a little bit because I had Schwarber as my left field, and then Joey Gallo as my backup option. And then when you went because left field's so thin, I just figure, okay, if you take Schwarber in left, I'm gonna have Gallo at the end. So I kind of panicked when Gallo was my only left fielder on the board, like from the start.
Yeah.
If we were ranking Schwarber as a DH, I might have pulled that trigger too early, but
So the other left fielder that I probably should have taken over Brian Reynolds, I just kind of assumed that we had taken someone from this team, was Randy Arozarena.
yeah, that would have been good.
I thought we had taken a Ray up to that point because I was like, oh, they're a good team. We had to have taken one, but they don't really hit a ton of home runs. I had two Rays on my board, but they were kind of down the board at their positions with him and Isaac Paredes at third base. I was surprised to see that Shohei Ohtani left to four, but I guess I did pass on him twice. Although I think I'm kind of happy I did because I mean it didn't even end up going, and I still feel like I got the jump on you at DH. I think Schwarber will hit more than Jordan.
Potentially. Yeah, I might have taken Schwarber there. Oh, actually, looking at am I looking at projections or I'm looking at projections right now, and they're projected to be two off, but Schwarber always hits a lot more than people expect.
Yeah. The best players left on my board that didn't get taken and none of their teammates got taken were Randy Arozarena, had Mike Trout still sitting there, Paredes at third base from the Rays. I also had Jose Ramirez at third base, didn't get taken, and Rhys Hoskins at first base for the Brewers. Those are the only guys that I had even left that either they didn't get taken or none of their teammates got taken as well.
Yeah, well, this was fun, but I'm gonna tally these up as well, and we're gonna see off camera. I'm curious of who would have won if we had these teams this year. Uh,
That's good. Or if we just add up projection numbers for this season,
that's
that'll be
true as well.
interesting. I
I
might put
think
that on the
that
graphic. I'll put this on, we'll put it on Twitter and Instagram, and we'll see if I can have room to include it on the graphic.
yeah, but yeah, this was fun. Maybe we'll do some more projection drafts like this in the future. But yeah,
I kind of think it would be fun to do one for pitchers if, one of them wins a Cy Young or something like we're just drafting 20 pitchers. And if,
I think Jomboy does that as well, where
okay.
you get like a point for a vote, and
Oh,
like if
that,
they
yeah,
win top three, maybe we can go back and look up their structure, maybe get some inspiration out of that.
we make our own rules. But thank you guys so much
Mhm.
for watching the draft. It was good to kind of come back and do one of these fun videos. Let us know if you guys have any other games or draft ideas that you want to suggest. Not sure that we can do this with our, being in our junior years of college and everything. Not sure if we can do full-fledged MLB content throughout the entire season with, episodes every week breaking things down. But when we've got free time, it's fun to do some of these more just entertaining, fun drafts or different games, blind rankings, everything like that. So if you've got some topics, you can leave them in the comments wherever you guys are watching or seeing this on social media. But thank you guys so much. We've been Double Play Baseball, and we'll see you guys next time.